In Australia, there has been a long, bloody and shameful history of killing and massacres of Aboriginal people that had occurred throughout the country since the start of British colonisation in 1788. The horrific event, called the Coniston Massacre, marked the end of this tradition. Coniston is located in Central Australia. This is where one of the largest and most impacting massacres of Indigenous Australians took place. The Coniston Massacre started with the killing of a white settler named Fred Brooks. Fred Brooks was a dingo trapper who was found murdered at Coniston Station on the 7th of August 1928. He had been slaughtered with traditional Aboriginal weapons and his body had been hastily buried. It is said that Brooks had been cut up into pieces and stuffed into a rabbit. First arrested for the murder of Brooks was two Aboriginal men, Padigar and Akikra, who were strolling into Coniston to trade in some dingo skins. They were abruptly shot and captured as they were guilty by association. Later on, it was discovered from accounts by Aboriginal eyewitnesses that Brooks' killer was another man named Kamalyapa Japananga, or commonly known as Bullfrog. Brooks had been camped at a waterhole called Yukuru, nearby a Walpari tribe camp. There were accusations made that Fred Brooks had slept with and been caught with one of Bullfrog's wives, and Bullfrog had planned the murder, with other tribe members agreeing to assist. Soon after the discovery of Fred Brooks' body, a series of reprisals were undertaken by groups of men on horseback. These men were led by Mounted Constable William George Murray, and the groups were made up of police and civilians, including Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal men. Some of the men who joined the reprisal party, led by Murray, were John Saxby, Bill Brisbane, an Aboriginal trucker called Paddy, and a few more. The groups were sent to Coniston Station to arrest the murderers of Fred Brooks and also any Indigenous Australians who had been spearing the European settlers' cattle. Upon Murray's arrival, he arrested two Aboriginal people and then continued his search around the area. There were several separate occasions over a period of months and at a number of sites where Murray's group shot and killed members of the Walpari and Matjia and Katai tribes. The people killed included women and children, and also people with nothing to do with the murder of Fred Brooks or the spearing of cats. The official death toll stands at 31, but Aboriginal oral tradition records almost 90 dead. However, it is very difficult to find an accurate amount as the killings were conducted in a series of raids. The first raid killed 17 people, the second killed 14, and so on. It has been agreed that the police had altogether killed up to 100 Aboriginal people. No charges were ever laid against the reprisal party. This was because there was no evidence what they did actually happened. The Aboriginal tracker had been killed after the murders, and all remaining members claimed they were acting in self-defense. The impact of the Coniston Massacre was very significant and still affects people today. Apart from the obvious impacts, like the mass killing of Walpari and other Aboriginal tribes, there were many greater effects. There was a massive loss of culture as the Walpari tribe and possibly other tribes deserted their traditional land and fields. This would have left behind a lot of their stories and heritage, ancestry and culture. Many of these things may not have been passed on, also due to the fact that many of those killed would have been the elder members of the tribe. The killings also upset the landholdings, the religious groups, the ceremonial life, the exchange networks, and the religious ceremonies at the time. There would have been many psychological problems seen in Aboriginals from seeing those killed or learning about the deaths of their family members. It could in no doubt still be affecting people in a very deep way. White settlement in general ruined a lot of the Aboriginal culture and history, resulting in over 200 years of bloodshed and oppression of a well-cultured race. This has never been more evident than in the actions that took place in Coniston. which many Aboriginal people are still trying to forget. Although there were many negative impacts, this event also held positive significance. Even though no guilty party was punished, the case was given great publicity. There was a national and international outrage, ensuring that this would be the final massacre of Indigenous Australians, and the bloody history of massacres had come to an end. Massacres lives on today, as it is a very important event for Aboriginal and white Australian reconciliation. Each year there is a memorial held to tell the sad story to a new generation, so that through knowledge of the massacre, future tragedies can be avoided.